Welcome back to my channel, everyone. My name is Dana. This is Dana Might Reads. And today, my boyfriend also read the same book, so he is sitting in on this review discussion about this book. We are going to be reviewing Time Shards by David Fitzgerald and Dana Fredsti. I feel like this was a very different sci-fi from others that I've read. It is sort of time travel, but also not time travel. Kinda?
Yeah, it's like timelines converging and overlapping instead of like moving across your own timeline.
Yeah.
So it's a fresh take on a time travel book, I guess.
Yeah. And I think we both rated it 5 stars. Did we both?
I don't remember what I rated it. Did I rate it?
I don't remember.
I probably forgot to.
I mean, I don't focus a whole lot on stars. It's just kind of there to give a general idea of how much I liked the book.
Yeah. I'd probably give it 4.5. So we'll round up to 5.
Yeah.
So the premise of the book is you have time itself that gets broken, or it breaks up into a bunch of different shards. So those shards are across geography and time, so I guess space and time. So you'll have, one piece of the world will be from 1921. One piece of the world will be from, the time of the dinosaurs. One piece will be from somewhere in the future, etc. And so
you could literally like walk a mile one way from your time and be in a different time. Does that make sense?
So you can walk through time as you would space, and so you get a lot of overlapping time periods that you see throughout the book, and there's a lot of very interesting interaction between all of the different time periods and people from those time periods. So you get to see what would happen if we have a soldier from what was it, the 1950s or 1940s that ends up hanging out with dire wolves from back in the early days of Ice Age, or you get to watch them hang out with dinosaurs, Triceratops. What happens if an early British Celt runs into a bunch of Triceratops, that sort of thing.
And I think one of the things that they do really well in this book is take, if this early British Celt sees a school bus, for example, it's kind of a mild spoiler.
Don't you dare.
What are you doing?
I thought he was going to throw up.
Me too.
Thank you for not throwing up in my library, puppy.
Okay, so for example, if you have the early British Celt that we were talking about.
Was he from 3rd century or something?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Super early like that.
Who sees a school bus, he is going to perceive that differently than someone, say, from 2016 who sees the same bus. They're going to realize it's a school bus, but this early British Celt is going to be like,
oh, check out that armored wagon.
Yeah.
or the horseless carriage or something.
Yeah, so the book does a really good job of seeing modern day things from a different perspective. And it just makes it more of an interesting read.
Yeah, I think that was my favorite part, was seeing the world through the lens of, a 3rd century Celt or a guy from the 1940s, and what do they think when they see modern technology, or what happens when they see a modern road.
Yeah.
Just things that we would say, oh yeah, it's a road, or it's a school bus, I don't care, that's an everyday thing. Them, it's like, oh wow, that thing's weird. What a strange carriage.
Yeah. And likewise, you get the opposite problem where someone from our day and age not traveling back, coming into contact with people from the 1700s who believe in witchcraft. So it makes it, and how it's just interesting how different people from different eras would respond to this sort of event. Some think it's witchcraft, some think it's magic. Well, that's around the same thing.
Yeah.
Some think science. Some people have very logical reasoning, and some have very illogical reasoning, and just cause more problems.
Yeah. One thing that I thought was particularly amusing was this may have been from Shadow War, which is the second book, but where someone is trying to explain some science concept, or explain what happened to cause the fracturing of time, and the farther back you go, the more easily the people accept it. The people from the modern time are like, what? You need to explain this to me because this is crazy. This makes no sense. But the other people are just like, oh, okay. It's magic. I believe in magic. Mm-hmm. Thank you for telling me this, Druid.
Yeah. I think they'd say that at the end of the first book. It's not very spoilery. It's just how they're explaining it to someone who does not know technology at all.
Or modern physics, I guess.
Or
any physics, rather.
So in this first book, there's some pretty decent character development. No one has any idea what's going on, and you sort of end up with this ragtag team of people from all over time that don't normally go together and have to work together. That was really interesting to see them interacting. Some of those characters start off very scared, just wandering around, don't know what to do. You are with dinosaurs and with like all these other people from different times and eras that you don't understand what's going on, to becoming sort of braver and kind of learning to just roll with it at this point, and fighting and trying to just do the best they can to survive. Whereas some people would just run and hide and find a spot and just stay there, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, another really good thing about this book, if you listen to the audiobook, the narrator did a fantastic job. There are many different points of view in this book, but he did them all really well with like the accents and all of that. It was very well done, and if you don't have the physical book, the audiobook is definitely worth listening to.
Even if you have the physical book, we read the book and we also listened to the audiobook because we wanted to reread it or re-listen to it before we read Shadow War, which is book 2.
I guess I should say that this is book 1 in a series of 3 books. So Time Shards is the first book. Shadow War is the second book, which we will also be doing a review for here soon. And then there's a third book. I have mentioned on the channel before that it comes out in January. I lied.
I think it was April.
Yeah, I thought it was January. Maybe it got pushed back and I didn't know, but it comes out in April now. And it's called Tempest Fury, I think.
Yeah, it's Tempest Fury.
Yeah. So it's a trilogy. Just know that going in.
But the audiobook for Shadow War is also very good. The guy does
it's
like
the same one. Yeah.
30 different accents, probably more than that.
I don't know about 30, but it's a lot.
Yeah. Well, every character had a slightly different flavor of accent or dialect.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, so one of the cons of the book, this is really the only problem I had with this book, is there is a lot of what am I trying to say?
Deus Ex Machina.
Yes, Deus Ex Machina.
That's how you say that.
Where, I mean, the people, there are some that don't make it. But in general, there's a lot of last minute saves, just in the nick of time type of thing, which is fine, but it happens so often that I'm kind of like, oh, I'm not worried about this person. They're totally gonna make it. Which will surprise me, I guess, if they die in a later book.
Maybe they'll bamboozle us a bit later.
Yeah.
Hopefully so.
Yeah, I hope so. That was really, I feel like, my only issue. Yeah, that it happened often enough that it wasn't really all that believable to me.
I think that was my only con for the book too, was there's a lot of that where you get this build up of, stuff going down, and then it's like, oh, well, they can't get out of this. I guess this is the end of the book, and oh, we're saved.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, they have to fight for it, so it's not like it's easy or anything, but it's still just like, we know. Or at least for a few of the people.
Yeah.
There does seem to be a little bit of magic involved, too, with Amber.
Yeah.
That's quite not revealed in this book or in book 2, but I think there's a little bit of, maybe there's a science and an answer behind it, but it seems kind of weird.
Yeah. A lot of the story focuses around this one person that seems to be totally uninvolved in the cause of the event, but she seems to be, the chosen one.
Yeah, but it doesn't. It's trying to explain without spoilers. Yeah, I'm can't explain. We'll know by book 3. There's also
Well, maybe are they, unless they pull a who did that?
Patrick Rothfuss.
Pull a Paolini and turn their trilogy into a quadrilogy. Is that what they're called? A fourology. 4 books.
That's English for you guys.
Yeah.
New word every day. One of the other things that I thought of while reading this book was when they call it the event, when the time shatters. So when the event happens, the way they describe it kind of reminds me of the end of Aladdin 2, The Return of Jafar, where all this stuff is like going back together, and it just has like this big like light. You know what I mean?
I have no memory of that movie.
I'll link a picture of it if I can find a picture of the scene. But basically, end of Aladdin 2. I just registered that you asked that question. But basically, all of the cracks are realigning, and then it has like this like wall of rainbow color type things. It kind of reminded me of that.
I really enjoyed the way that they described what the event is at the very beginning of the book. They describe it as, picture time as a stained glass window, and each, a series of windows as you go, and if you walk to the right, as you go, that's looking into the future. If you go back to the left, it's each moment in time looking into the past. And so what they said is, imagine that the stained glass then gets shattered, and you take each of the pieces from all across time and just stitch them back together into one pane. That's the present. Mm-hmm. So you get a little piece of stained glass from, the year 2219. You get a little piece of stained glass from the year, 10,000 BC or something. Mm-hmm. A little piece from 300 AD, and you end up with a very strange looking tapestry. Chaotic. Or not tapestry, strange looking stained glass view of the earth.
Yeah. So overall, I know we didn't have like a set structure or anything in this video. We're just kind of discussing it. But we really enjoyed this book. 4.5 stars for us. Just the one con of the Deus Ex Machina happening quite often, more often than I would like. But the characters are really interesting. The world is really interesting. Even though it's our world, there's still really good like world building to it.
And you should read the book.
Yeah, it has kind of that sense of awe that you get with a fantasy book, I feel like.
But it also has kind of a classic sci-fi feel in that it's what would happen, if this happened.
Mm-hmm.
Which I very much enjoy those types of stories.
Yeah. So overall, we highly recommend this book, especially the audiobook. I know we mentioned it earlier, but man, I think, was it Adam or Aaron Shadlock? He did really great narrating.
Yeah.
Really engaging. Like, it was very fun to listen to. Definitely recommend this book. So I think that's all. This was our mostly gush review for Time Shards by David Fitzgerald and Dana Fredsti. Highly recommend if you love sci-fi. Yeah, and I think that's all. So give me a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this review. I will get better at these as time goes on. That was a stretch. That was really lame. Never mind.
Unless it breaks into shards.
So give me a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you pick up this book and what your thoughts are on it. I would love to discuss the finer details. And yeah, so follow me on Instagram and Twitter as Dynamite Reads, and I will see you guys next time.